On this episode, I catch up with my good friend, NBA shooting coach Dave Hopla. Check it out. Dave Hopla, my man, how you doing?
I'm doing great, Tanner. Yourself?
I'm doing all right, holding up here in Maine, and you're down in Florida. What part of Florida are you at, Dave?
I'm in Naples, Florida, Southwest. It's closest airport's Fort Myers. I'm about 20 minutes from the airport.
Right, right on. How's your Memorial Day weekend going so far?
It's wet down here. It's the rainy season. Yesterday it rained most of the day in the afternoon, and today it's been, dreary and rainy.
Right on. So for those who don't know, who might be watching this video, Dave, you lived in Maine for a period of time. You still have a house there. Your wife is from Maine, and you and I lived, I don't know, a quarter of a mile apart for the better part of a decade. So I'm really happy that you were taking some time to talk to me today. Any love you want to shout out to the people of Booth Bay?
I miss Booth Bay. I miss the people, the YMCA, and I don't miss the winters. But other than that, wish I was up there now. But I got some things going on down here. My wife and daughter are actually up there right now as we speak.
Visiting family and whatnot. Yeah, I can imagine, man. So hey, Dave, you've got a new project going on, or I guess it's something that's been in the works for a couple of years, but you've got a documentary coming out, hopefully in the U.S. soon, House of Hopla, which it details your journey playing basketball in West Belfast in 1981 as part of the Irish Basketball Association. Could you give us a little glimpse into what this project is all about?
Yeah, it was done by a guy named Mark Mulholland, whose uncle was a teammate of mine, and Mark was a young kid at the time who, became infatuated with the game of basketball, and was a big happening actually in Belfast. Was during the Troubles in the '80s, and Friday nights it was a big deal to come and see the Americans playing with the Irish teams, and so he did this whole thing, and it's called, Belfast Brotherhood in Basketball. And all the guys, my teammates, we're still tight. And every time, like, when I go over there, I've been going over the last 5 years. It's like I've never left. I mean, they're just like the friendliest people in the world. They just didn't get along with one another with the Catholic and Protestant thing. So it was actually, they did the world premiere. They actually did it in Belfast. In this past October, and they want to do the United States premiere at the Basketball Hall of Fame, because there's Mark Mulholland, like I said, he's the guy that was his project. He's involved with this group who hosted the Hall of Fame Classic in Belfast, and it was the one year it was the teams it was Towson State played in it, LaSalle. Who else? But anyway, he brought 4 Division I teams over. So he's involved with that. It was called the Hall of Fame Classic. So that's how the connect is. But with this whole coronavirus thing, everything's sort of put on hold to release it in the United States.
Sure, absolutely. Yeah, I looked a little into that Irish Basketball League, and the one name that stood out to me that had a really successful NBA career was Mario Elie of the Rockets.
Right. Yeah. I'll tell you, there's been some great players that played over there. There was 2 guys that played at Georgetown, Mike Hancock, Jeff Bolus. There were some really good players that have gone through there. And actually, Dan Trant, he was a really good player, and he actually had Irish citizenship because his grandmother was from there. And unfortunately, he was drafted by the Boston Celtics the same year that Jordan and everything was, and he was like the last cut and everything. Unfortunately, he passed away in 9/11. He worked for Cantor Fitzgerald in the World Trade Towers.
Wow, wow, that's crazy. I didn't know so many great players played in that association. But it's always cool to kind of look around the world and see just how the game is developed internationally. I mean, even more so now, but that seemed pretty innovative at the time.
Yeah, it was, it was sort of, and actually, there was a book written about it, and actually a documentary about the Irish basketball called Hanging from the Rafters. And actually, the guy came up and he did an interview. He came up to Booth Bay Harbor, and actually, there's quite a bit of footage of Booth Bay Harbor in that documentary. I'm walking across the footbridge and everything, and he came up to the house with the camera crew and everything, and we had some kids at the Y where I was putting them through some drill work. You know, yeah. So that was pretty cool there.
That's awesome, man. That's very cool. Dave, one thing I've always wondered about you is, I mean, you're known as a world-class shooting instructor, and you had a college career, you had a professional career, and then how did you parlay your skill of shooting into essentially a life career?
Actually, it was, sort of by accident. I mean, when I was done playing, I wanted to coach in the NBA. I was like 32 when my playing days ended, and I was playing overseas. I had a nice gig going overseas, and then I was in Baltimore, living in Baltimore at the time, and there was a CBA team before the G League, the D League. There was the CBA, which was the old Eastern League, the Continental Basketball Association, and Henry Bibby was the coach of the Baltimore Lightning, and Rodney Norris was Gene Shue's nephew. Gene Shue coached in the NBA for a number of years, and Rodney, I used to play against. And Rodney's like, why don't you stay home and play for the Baltimore Lightning, go out for the team? I'm like, I'm never going to be in the NBA. There's not, I said, what am I going to do? Bring 20 people to a game? He goes, that's a lot of people for a CBA game. So I stayed home. He said, yeah, your mother can see you play. And the checks were bouncing more than the basketball. And it was the night I'll never forget. I was watching Monday Night Football, and Lawrence Taylor broke Joe Theismann's leg. And I'm like sick to my stomach after I saw that. And then I get a phone call from Henry Bibby. And he goes, I have some good news and I have some bad news. I said, give me some good news, because I said, I'm sick to my stomach after seeing that terrible injury. And he goes, the good news is you're still with the Baltimore Lightning. The bad news is they're moving to Rockford, Illinois. And I said, there's no way I'm going out there. And so now I couldn't go back overseas because it was too late. I'm like, what am I going to do with myself now? And I'm like, disgusted and disappointed and depressed and everything. And my buddy Joe Bucci was coaching at Dundalk Community College in Dundalk, Maryland. And he's like, why don't you coach? And I'm like, I'm a player. I'm not a coach. I'm a player. I'm not a coach. And so he kept calling me, and then finally I said, look, I'll volunteer my time. I said, I'll be here when I can. I'm not going to guarantee I'll be here every day. And then I started coaching ever since then. And so we shot the ball fairly well, and then people wanted me to work with kids. I started out working out high school kids in the area, and then they became college, and college kids wanted me. And then I said, I'd like to get in the NBA. And I sent letters to every NBA team and never heard back from anybody. And so I was like, and then I started working for agents, working out their players, getting them ready for pre-draft camps. And just it snowballed from there. And then I finally got, my first full-time job with the Toronto Raptors. And then I left there and then went to, the Washington Wizards, then the Knicks, and then the most recent team, the Detroit Pistons.
Yeah, it's awesome, man. And it's funny. I mean, you might not have fully realized your dreams of being a player, but you've been involved in the NBA on the sidelines and been an integral part of team success. Uh, any personal highlights of your NBA coaching experience?
Uh, the most exciting season was my first year with the New York Knicks when we won 54 games. We beat the Celtics in the first round, and we lost to Indiana in second. And we were an older team. I mean, our rookies were Pablo Prigioni, who was 32 at the time, and Chris Copeland, who was 28. And all the so-called experts, they didn't even pick us to make the playoffs. And we won 54 games, and it was just, electricity when you walked into the Garden. You could just feel the energy and everything. And then when we lost, the New York media, we had a bad year when we lost to the Pistons. To the Pacers. And it was just like, but nobody even picked us. Like, if you would have said beginning of the year when it went 54, and they'd be like, there's no way you can do that. But we had all veterans, and we had a great group of guys. It was Jason Kidd's last year. We had Marcus Camby, Kenyon Martin, Tyson Chandler. Mello led the league in scoring that year. J.R. Smith was sixth man of the year. It was just a great season. I mean, it was, but it was a memorable one for sure.
Yeah, I remember that team well because I was at that last game in the TD Bank North Garden. I actually remember going down courtside and seeing you
Right, right.
when the Knicks won the series. And of course, I was rooting for the Celtics, but that team was running on fumes as is.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but that was a heck of a team. Well,
Yeah.
Dave, since I have you, I want to play another game with you. I like to do that
Okay.
with every guest. I call it this or that, and I'm going to put on an appropriate background. So with this or that, it always kind of pits uh, two things against one another, and there are no right or wrong answers. It's really just a matter of your own personal opinion, but you're going to have to pick a side for this or
Okay.
that. So we always have a couple people at odds with one another, and what better than Larry Bird and Dr. J? Um,
Mm.
all right, Dave. So here we go. Are you ready to play this or that?
Sure. I'm looking forward to it.
All right. So, Dave, uh, this or that, the best 76er never to win a title, Charles Barkley or Allen Iverson?
Charles Barkley.
Charles Barkley. All right. Good call, man. I love the round mound to rebound.
So do I.
Dave, this or that, all things being equal, pick a Van Gundy, Jeff or Stan.
I'm going to pick Stan. He hired me. He gave me an opportunity to work with him.
That's right. Jeff never cut you a check.
That's for sure.
Dave, this or that, which old school shot do you find more effective? A hook shot or a granny shot?
The hook shot, even though they're both extinct, they're like the way of the dinosaurs.
They are, man. The hook shot to me has the potential to make a comeback, but I don't ever see a granny shot coming back.
Now, Rick Barry shot and was very successful with it, but I don't understand why like more people don't shoot the hook shot. I mean, Kareem is the all-time leading scorer in the history of the NBA, and like he said, the only person that ever asked him how to shoot it was Magic, and Magic shot the baby hook against the Celtics.
Yeah,
You
oh,
know?
that was a killer. I know
Yeah.
my old man is still reeling from that one.
Yeah, I'm sure a lot of Boston fans are.
All right, Dave, this or that. Who was the better third wheel, Dennis Rodman or Horace Grant?
Dennis Rodman.
Dennis Rodman, wow. Just all those intangibles, huh?
Yeah, I just, what he brought, his energy and everything, I mean, his off-court antics was one thing, but when he played, I mean, who wouldn't want to play with a guy like that who defends, rebounds, and never shoots the ball? I mean,
He was really a highlight of that Last Dance documentary for me.
yes, he was.
All right, Dave, this or that. Which NBA superfan are you sitting courtside with? Are you sitting courtside with Jack Nicholson or Spike Lee?
I sit with Jack Nicholson because he's a former Jersey guy. He's from the Jersey Shore, so I'm an original New Jersey guy as well.
All right, right on. I like that answer.
And
Uh,
I've met Spike, a number of times being with the Knicks, so I've never had the opportunity to sit with Jack. So
right on. Well, I love that movie Wolf Over the Cuckoo's Nest, and one of
yeah,
the,
Chief.
that's a classic, absolute classic. All right, I got a few more. This or that. Dave, what is your basketball movie of choice? Hoosiers or White Men Can't Jump?
White Men Can't Jump. I just love the whole dynamics of the cultures, the black culture and the white culture, and one of the things that I found ironic was that Woody Harrelson loved listening to Jimi Hendrix, And Wesley Snipes didn't like it. He's like, "Why are you listening to that crap?" And he said, "I don't listen to that crap. I hear what the dude's saying, you know?"
That's
So,
classic.
yeah.
That's classic. All right, Dave, we got a old school pickup basketball game, and we're going with a schoolyard pick. You have the first pick. So, Jordan or LeBron?
Jordan,
Jordan, no hesitation whatsoever.
none at all. Jordan plays hard every possession. LeBron's taken a lot of plays off, and he's gone into a funk a number of times. During big moments and everything. I mean, the latest one I can think of is when Cleveland was playing, and Kevin Durant had the ball like 40 feet from the basket, and he switched with Kevin Love on him. Michael Jordan would have never switched on that. I mean, that was a mismatch. Kevin Love being 40 feet on Kevin Durant, Jordan would have slapped that floor and been all over KD.
That's right. He had that moment in the last dance where they were playing the Pacers in Game 7, and Phil Jackson was trying to get him to switch on screens. And
Yeah.
Jordan put his foot down and said, "No way, I'm fighting for everything."
But if I could have had my first pick of everybody, I would have picked Wilt Chamberlain, baby.
Wilt the Stilt, man. I love it.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. I got one final question for you, Dave. This or that. So you are on the road. You're down 2 seconds remaining. Who's taking the final shot? Steph Curry or Dave Hopla?
I'm going to go with Steph Curry, man. I'm 63 years old, man.
All right. Fair enough. Fair enough. Well, thank you for playing this or that, Dave. I appreciate it.
My pleasure. I enjoyed it very much. I thought at first when you showed that picture of Bird and Dr. J, I thought I was going to have to pick one or the other on that one.
Yeah, no, I'm not going to make you do that.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So hey, Dave, what we're going to do is I understand you got a little demonstration of a drill or something that some young players might be able to do during quarantine. But what we're going to do is you're going to go into your gym, and tomorrow I'm going to edit this tape and put that drill at the end of this video.
That'll be super. Yeah, I'll give a couple drills that they can do, for shooting, even if you don't have a hoop and everything. So, I'll get a little video clip of that tomorrow at the gym, even though, there's a basket there. I'm not going to be using the basket, but it's drills that'll help you shoot the basketball.
All right, that sounds awesome. All right, well, Dave, it's great catching up with you, man. Anything else you want to say to anyone who might be watching this?
I'd just like to tell everyone in Booth Bay Harbor, I miss you guys, love you all, and hope everyone stays safe and healthy during these crazy, chaotic times.
All right, man, sounds great. I love you.
Thanks for having me on, Tanner. Love you, man.
Hi, I'm Dave Hopla. I'm here today to demonstrate a drill called a straight line shooting drill. You don't need a basket to perform this drill. So what I want to do is have a straight line, it can be a piece of tape, chalk, whatever, and I'll make sure that I put my lead foot as a right-handed shooter. My lead foot's my right foot. If I was left-handed, it'd be the opposite. So my left foot is shoulder width apart, slightly open, slightly stagnant stance. My toe, knee, hip, elbow, wrist, shoulder, and basketball should form my straight line. I place my shooting hand in the center of the basketball. Notice the air valve is in between my index finger and my middle finger. So I also have daylight between my thumb and index finger, 2 fingers underneath the basketball. The ball's in the palm of my hand, I cannot control the basketball. So it's finger pads, fingertips. Once I have my ball set, I'm going to lock my arm in and form the letter L. My elbow should be directly above my lead foot. If the elbow starts to stick out, the ball is in front of my face, and I can't see my target. So the elbow is directly above my lead foot. I'm going to bend and extend. My elbow is going to be fully extended above my eyebrow, and I'm going to pretend to put my hand into the hoop. If I shoot the ball straight, the ball should land right on the black line. So here we go. One hand, straight line shoot. Then extend, up, and that's it. Next, we want to add the balance. A lot of people call it a guide hand. It's a guide hand to guide the ball into the basket and never miss. Most players should call it a misguide hand. So once again, we add a piece to the puzzle. Once again, our stance is the same. Shooting hand stays in the center of his, but balance hand is on the side of the basketball. Once again, I have daylight between that. My palms never touch the basketball. There's some coaches now saying you should be on top of the ball. Well, I can't be shot ready with my hands on top of the basketball. If I were to take the ball out of my hands, how would I catch that basketball? So this should be my shot pocket on my catch. If I can eliminate motion, I increase accuracy. So now we add balance. Once again, same thing. I'm tucked in, up. I freeze my follow. Both hands stay up on the follow. A lot of kids drop their hands in the body, twists and turns. Eliminate motion, increase accuracy. Best swish is always Dave Hopla. Hi, this is Dave Hopla, and I'm going to show you a drill that you should never do and tell you why you shouldn't do it. And it's a drill that I did as a young kid before I knew any better. So a lot of coaches are saying, oh, lay down on your back and shoot the ball up. And I get that you're working on extension, but you're making sure that you have a very low release. I'm a big believer that your elbow should be above your eyebrow so you get good arc on your shot. So if I lay down and shoot the ball up in the air, look where my release point is. My release point is like at my chest line. And I don't want to shoot the ball there. When I shoot, my elbow would be above my eyebrow. So if I'm laying down and shooting this ball, laying in my bed or on my living room floor, I am reinforcing bad habits. I am reinforcing getting a low release point, although I am getting full extension. My suggestion is just get a chair. Get a chair, sit in the chair. Now I have to work on getting that high release point. I'm in my letter L once again, right above my right thigh, my shot line. Now I'm in the chair, balance hand side of it, shoot it up and get it. Nice rotation on the ball, which I don't like to do this drill because we're watching the flight of the basketball. There's nothing like being in the gym and being able to focus on the target. We can work on our follow through. Notice when I follow through, I hold my hands high, my left hand stays on the right side of my body, my right hand on the right side. My left hand is not involved in the shot. It's a balance hand. It's not a guide hand. It does not guide the ball. It's not an off hand. You don't want your shot to be off, and it's definitely not a non-shooting hand because non-shooters can't shoot. You're going to be a great shooter. You got to be positive, not only in your terminology, but in every day of your life. So I want to hold the hands high and work on my height. Work on my height, elbow above eyebrow. I hope these drills find beneficial. Hopefully you're in that gym soon. Best wishes always, Coach Hopla.